If you're queer and want to become a parent, I need to tell you something nobody else is being honest about. You're about to face costs that straight couples never pay, anywhere from $15,000 to over $200,000. And here's the thing that really pisses me off. There's almost no clear information about these actual numbers. That changes right now. In the next 15 minutes, I'm giving you the complete cost breakdown of every path to parenthood available to LGBTQ plus people in 2025. IVF, adoption, and surrogacy. Real numbers, including the hidden fees agencies don't mention until you've already signed. By the end, you'll know three things that could save you tens of thousands of dollars. First, which option has hidden costs that can literally double your budget? It's probably not what you think. Second, the one state-level difference that could mean paying $30,000 versus $150,000 for the exact same outcome. And third, the savings strategy financial advisors now recommend specifically for queer parents. Because unlike straight couples, we can't just accidentally have kids. We need a plan. Quick context, because your zip code might matter more than your budget here. Even after marriage equality, biology still requires LGBTQ plus couples to use assisted reproduction, surrogacy, or adoption. And the medical and legal industries realized they could charge premium prices because we have no alternative. Fast forward to today. Some states have become incredibly progressive with insurance mandates and family building laws. Others went the opposite direction, banning procedures, refusing to recognize queer parents on birth certificates. Here's what this means for you. Where you live determines what you'll pay. Recent studies show same-sex couples are 6 times more likely to use surrogacy and 4 times more likely to adopt than straight couples. But while everyone talks about the emotional journey, almost nobody talks about money. And that silence is costing us. I've watched too many couples drain retirement accounts or give up entirely because they didn't have a financial roadmap. Let's fix that, starting with what seems simplest, assisted reproduction through IVF or IUI. But simple doesn't mean cheap. Here's the baseline for 2025. IUI, intrauterine insemination, is less invasive, $300 to $1,000 per cycle for the procedure, $500 to $1,500 per vial of donor sperm, and you'll need multiple vials. $3,000 to $5,000 for fertility meds if you're stimulating egg production. Most people need 3 to 6 cycles before success. Do the math with me. 4 IUI cycles? You're looking at $8,000 to $15,000 minimum, if everything goes smoothly. IVF is more intensive but higher success rates, $12,000 to $17,000 per cycle, $5,000 to $7,000 for medications, $500 to $1,500 per vial of donor sperm. Add another $3,000 to $5,000 if you need an egg donor, $600 to $1,200 per year for embryo storage if you create extras. One IVF cycle averages $20,000 to $25,000. Success rates for women under 35 are about 50% per cycle, which sounds good until you realize there's a 50% chance you'll need to do it again. But here's the cost nobody tells you about: insurance coverage. Even in 2025, most insurance plans don't cover IVF or IUI for same-sex couples because you can't prove medical infertility. You're not infertile, you just can't conceive together biologically. Some states now have mandates that include queer couples. Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, New Hampshire, New York, Rhode Island. These states might cover 60 to 80% of costs. If you don't live there, you're paying everything out of pocket. Real range for assisted reproduction: $15,000 to $60,000 depending on how many cycles you need and your insurance situation. Now, adoption. But here's the thing. Adoption isn't one thing. It's actually 4 very different paths with wildly different costs. Path 1. Foster to adopt. This is the one most people don't know about. Cost? Often under $2,000 total. Many states actually provide adoption subsidies and continuing support. Legal fees are usually waived or covered by the state. The catch? You're adopting kids already in the system, often older children or sibling groups. Many have experienced trauma. This is beautiful, meaningful work, but it requires different preparation than infant adoption. And in 2025, 14 states still let child welfare agencies refuse to work with same-sex couples if the agency has religious objections. Path 2. Domestic infant adoption. What most people picture, a newborn in the U.S. Agency fees run $20,000 to $45,000. Birth mother expenses, legal, medical, living costs, another $5,000 to $15,000. Home study is $1,000 to $3,000. Legal fees, $2,500 to $8,000. Travel and accommodation, $2,000 to $5,000. Total range, $40,000 to $75,000. Here's what agencies don't tell you up front. You'll pay a large chunk of these fees before you're even matched with a birth mother. And if she changes her mind, which is her legal right, you might not get that money back. Timeline matters too. Domestic infant adoption can take 1 to 5 years from application to placement. That's years of ongoing expenses and emotional uncertainty. Path 3. International adoption. This varies dramatically by country. The most LGBTQ+ friendly countries in 2025 are Colombia, $35,000 to $50,000, Brazil, $30,000 to $45,000, Mexico, $25,000 to $40,000. These costs include agency fees, foreign country fees, translation, travel, often multiple trips, and immigration processing. The challenge? Many countries explicitly ban same-sex couples from adopting. Others technically allow it but make it functionally impossible. And geopolitical situations can shut down programs overnight. Path 4. Second parent or step-parent adoption. If you're already parenting a child, maybe your partner's biological child, second parent adoption secures your legal rights. Legal fees run $1,500 to $5,000. Court costs, $250 to $500. Home study, if required, $1,000 to $3,000. Total, $2,000 to $8,000. This only works in specific circumstances, and in states without strong protections, this might be your only way to guarantee your parental rights are legally recognized. Adoption takeaway. You'll spend anywhere from under $2,000 to over $75,000, depending on which path you choose and where you live. Let's talk surrogacy, the path that gives you the most control but comes with the highest price tag. Your 2025 surrogacy budget. Agency and legal fees. Surrogacy agency runs $25,000 to $40,000. Your attorney, $10,000 to $15,000. Surrogate's attorney, $2,000 to $3,000. Escrow account management, $2,000 to $4,000. Surrogate compensation. Base compensation is $45,000 to $65,000. Monthly allowance during pregnancy, $200 to $400 a month. Maternity clothes, $500 to $1,000. Lost wages if bed rest is required, $2,000 to $10,000. Medical costs. IVF cycle to create embryo, $20,000 to $30,000. Embryo transfer, $3,000 to $5,000. Surrogate's medical screening, $3,000 to $5,000. Her health insurance or insurance policy, $10,000 to $30,000. Prenatal care and delivery, $5,000 to $15,000 if insurance doesn't cover. Other costs. Egg donor if needed, $20,000 to $40,000. Psychological counseling, which is required, $2,000 to $4,000. Travel and accommodation, $5,000 to $10,000. Background checks and screening, $1,000 to $2,000. Total surrogacy cost, $100,000 to $200,000. Here's the brutal truth. There's almost no way to do surrogacy for significantly less than 6 figures, unless you have a friend or family member willing to be your surrogate, which comes with its own complex dynamics. But the real kicker? Not all states recognize surrogacy contracts. Michigan, New York for compensated surrogacy, Louisiana. In these states, agreements may not be legally enforceable. You could pay all this money and still face a legal battle to be recognized as your child's parent. The surrogacy-friendly states in 2025 are California, Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Nevada, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Washington, and D.C. If you don't live there, add $10,000 to $20,000 to your budget for legal complications and travel for the birth. Before we talk about how to actually pay for this, let me hit you with costs that exist across every path. Time off work. IVF appointments, adoption home visits, traveling for surrogacy, you're going to miss work. Budget $3,000 to $10,000 in lost wages. Parental leave. Many queer parents face discrimination accessing benefits. If your employer doesn't offer paid leave, you're looking at weeks or months unpaid. Legal protection documents. Even after you have your child, you need backup protection, especially if you're the non-biological parent. Second parent adoption, if not done already, 2 to 8,000. Will and guardianship nomination, 500 to 2,000. Power of attorney documents, 300 to 800. The safety premium. This is unique to LGBTQ plus parents. Many families relocate to affirming areas for their kids' safety. Higher cost of living means your housing, childcare, and daily expenses will be significantly higher. I know these numbers are overwhelming. Here's your action plan. Start saving now. 3 to 4 years before you want kids. Financial advisors specifically tell queer parents to start earlier because we can't have an oops baby. Open a dedicated high-yield savings account and treat it like a bill. Look for employer benefits. Some companies now offer family-building benefits covering $10,000 to $50,000. Tech companies and large corporations often lead here. Grants exist. Organizations like Family Equality Council, Men Having Babies, and state programs offer grants from $2,000 to $15,000. You have to apply, but it's free money. Financing options. Some agencies offer payment plans. Companies like Future Family and Gaia specifically finance fertility treatments. Interest rates vary, but it can make immediate costs more manageable. Tax benefits. The adoption tax credit for 2025 gives you up to $16,810 back for qualified expenses. You can also use FSA or HSA funds for some fertility treatments. Now, you might be thinking, this is so expensive, maybe I should wait. But here's what you need to understand. The cost of waiting is actually higher. Every year you delay, these costs go up. Agency fees increase. Egg quality decreases with age, meaning more IVF cycles. And the emotional cost of putting your dream on hold, that's priceless. There's one more critical piece you need, and it's so important I made a whole video about it. How do you actually structure your budget to save for this? How do you prioritize family-building savings against retirement, emergency funds, and daily expenses? And what's the safety premium that queer parents factor in that straight parents never think about? I break down the complete financial planning strategy, including the exact buckets method I recommend for LGBTQ plus family planning, in my video on building an anti-budget for queer lives. Click right here to watch it next, or find the link below. Your family is worth planning for, and now you have the real numbers to make that plan. Let's build something beautiful together.